Hey everybody. So this is a direct teacher review on how to calculate net force, mass, and acceleration using the formula F equals ma. So on your formula chart, you're going to see this, and this is just going to remind you how to set up your stuff. So first thing, if you see any questions that have force, mass, or acceleration, you know that you are going to be using the formula triangle. So F is for force, M is for mass, and A is for acceleration. So these side by side, if you're trying to find force, you cover up the F and you're left with mass times acceleration. If you're trying to find mass, you're left with force divided by, and that's what that line means. You're kind of putting it in a fraction form. So you would do force divided by acceleration. If you're trying to find acceleration, you do force divided by mass. And of course, you're going to use your calculators on this one. So just a reminder, force is going to be measured in newtons. So when you read the story problem, if it has a capital N after the number, it's force. For mass, it's going to be kilograms. And then for acceleration, it's going to be meters per second squared. So let's look at a couple of examples. So a force of 30 newtons is applied to a baseball bat and it accelerates at a rate of 12.5 meters per second. What is the bat's mass? So if we have our formula, if we look at our formula triangle for this particular problem, maybe, and you look at this particular problem, we're just going to fill in the blank. So we're looking for mass. So before we put mass there, we don't know what mass is. And then we're given force, which is 30 newtons. And then we're given the acceleration rate, which is 12.5. So what you would do is, this means to divide. So we do calculator, 30 divided by 12.5. So the mass would be 2.4 kilograms. And if it ever says round to the nearest place, usually the numbers are going to be at the place you want them to be. So there's no real rounding involved. You just write the number as is in your griddable, just like in math class. And so the second problem is asking for how much force. In this case, we have our formula chart. We're trying to find force, F. We don't know what it is. And then mass and acceleration on bottom. So we need to multiply those two together. And so we would do 50 times 8.5 in this case. And we would type that in our calculator, 50 times 8.5. And that's giving us 425 newtons in this case. And usually if you're asked to grid it, you won't have a unit of measure after. You'll just put the number as is. So that's how you calculate, using force equals mass times acceleration and using the triangle.